something feels off. And if you've been watching closely, you already know exactly what we're talking about, because in a moment where everyone expected a response, where the pressure was building, where the internet was practically begging for it, Drake stayed silent. No tweet, no diss track, no cryptic Instagram caption, nothing. But here's the twist. His silence didn't calm things down. It made everything worse. Because now, the timeline is doing what it does best. Overanalyzing, connecting dots, digging into old clips, old lyrics, old interviews, trying to figure out what this silence really means. Fans are shocked, social media is going crazy, and people are divided like never before. Some are saying this is calculated. Others believe something bigger is happening behind the scenes. And then there are those who think, this isn't over, not even close. Because when someone like Drake doesn't respond, it's never just silence, it's strategy. Or at least, that's what fans believe. Now rumors are spreading. Unconfirmed reports suggest conversations are happening privately. Some people think alliances are shifting, and others are convinced the next move is already locked in. But here's the real question. Is Drake really staying quiet? Or is he letting the chaos build on purpose? Because right now, the timeline just got more complicated, and what happens next could change everything. The tension didn't start with a diss track. It didn't even start with a post. It started with silence. And not just any silence, the kind that makes people lean in closer, refresh their feeds, and start connecting dots that may or may not even exist. When it comes to Drake, silence is never just silence. It's strategy. It's pressure. It's a statement without saying a word. And right now, fans are watching every move, every second, trying to figure out what that silence really means. Over the past few days, something shifted in the timeline. At first, it looked like just another wave of online chatter, subtle jabs, cryptic captions, and people reading between lines that weren't even fully drawn. But then the conversations got louder. Screenshots started circulating, clips resurfaced. Old lyrics were suddenly being reanalyzed like they dropped yesterday. And just like that, what felt small turned into something way bigger than anyone expected. Fans are shocked at how fast everything escalated without Drake even saying a single word. Social media is going crazy, trying to decode what's real and what's just people reaching. Some people think this is all part of a calculated rollout, while others believe something deeper is going on behind the scenes. And the wildest part? Nothing is confirmed. Not one clear statement. Not one direct response. Just noise. And a lot of it. It all really picked up when certain names started getting pulled into the conversation. Not directly, not officially, but enough for fans to start drawing lines. People are divided. Some are convinced there's tension building between camps, while others are saying this is just the internet doing what it does best, turning speculation into headlines. But even those who are skeptical can't ignore the timing of everything. The posts, the reactions, the sudden shifts in tone. It all feels too aligned to be random. There's also the emotional layer that people aren't ignoring. Drake isn't just another artist in the game. He's someone who has built a reputation for responding when it matters, and responding in ways that shake the entire industry. So when he doesn't respond, when he chooses to stay quiet while everything around him gets louder, it hits differently. Emotions ran high across fan communities, with some interpreting the silence as confidence, while others see it as something else entirely. Why hasn't he said anything? That's the question echoing everywhere right now. And depending on who you ask, you'll get a completely different answer. Some fans believe he's waiting for the perfect moment, letting the tension build before dropping something major. Others think he's deliberately stepping back, letting the conversation burn itself out. And then, there are those who feel like this silence might be more complicated than it looks, like there are factors behind the scenes that the public doesn't fully understand. Meanwhile, every small detail is being magnified. A like on a post. a story that disappears after a few hours. Even who's standing next to who in a random clip. Everything is being analysed like it's evidence in a case. Social media is saying this could be the calm before a storm, and fans are watching closely, waiting for any sign of what comes next. But again, nothing is confirmed, and that uncertainty is what's making everything feel so intense. There's also this growing feeling that the situation isn't just about one moment or one interaction. It feels layered, like something has been building quietly over time, and now it's starting to surface in ways people didn't expect. Some people think this could connect back to past tensions, while others believe it's something entirely new, unfolding in real time. Either way, the energy feels different, heavier, more unpredictable. And maybe that's what's keeping everyone locked in, the unpredictability. Because with Drake, history has shown that the biggest moves often come when people least expect them. So while the timeline keeps getting more complicated, while theories continue to stack on top of each other, one thing remains clear. The silence isn't being ignored. It's being studied. Right now, the story isn't about what was said. It's about what wasn't. And in a space where every word usually carries weight, the absence of one might be the loudest message of all. And just when people thought the silence couldn't get any louder, the situation took a turn that nobody really saw coming. But somehow, everybody felt building in the background. The energy online shifted from curiosity to full-on chaos. What started as quiet speculation turned into non-stop conversation. And now it wasn't just fans watching anymore. Other voices started entering the mix, and that's when things really began to escalate. It began with a few subtle reactions. Nothing direct. Nothing you could point to and say, that's it right there. But in today's world, it doesn't take much. A repost here, a caption there, a line in a freestyle that felt just a little too specific. And social media is saying those moments weren't random. Fans believe certain artists were testing the waters, seeing if Drake would respond, seeing if the silence would finally break. But again, nothing is confirmed. And that uncertainty is exactly what's fueling everything. Then came the first real twist. A clip started circulating, short, slightly unclear, but just enough to spark debate. In the clip, a voice that fans believe belongs to someone close to the situation made a comment that sounded like a warning. Not a direct call-out, not a name drop, but the tone. The tone had people talking. Some people think it was aimed at Drake, while others are saying it's being taken completely out of context. Still, the timing of it all made it hard to ignore. Something's coming, one fan wrote, and that phrase started spreading like wildfire. Suddenly, timelines were filled with predictions. People were breaking down past interviews, revisiting old collaborations, even analysing body language from months ago like it held hidden meaning. Emotions ran high as different fan bases started clashing, each side convinced they understood what was really happening. At the same time, insiders, well, people claiming to be insiders, began dropping hints. Unconfirmed reports suggest that there may have been conversations behind closed doors, things that never made it to the public but could explain the tension now bubbling to the surface. Some people think there's a disagreement that goes deeper than music, while others believe this is all tied to business moves, alliances shifting in ways fans don't fully see. But once again, nothing is confirmed, and separating fact from fiction is becoming harder by the minute. What made everything even more intense was the way Drake continued to stay quiet. No tweets, no interviews, no cryptic responses, just silence. And somehow that silence started to feel louder than everything else combined. Fans are shocked because this isn't the usual pattern. When pressure builds, when conversations start circling his name, Drake has historically stepped in and controlled the narrative. But this time, he's letting it unfold. Some people think that's the strategy. Let everyone talk. Let the theories stack up. Let the anticipation reach a point where whatever comes next hits even harder. Others aren't so sure. There's a growing group of fans who feel like this silence might be forced, not chosen. Social media is going crazy with theories suggesting that there could be external factors at play, contracts, timing, or even something bigger happening behind the scenes that hasn't been revealed yet. Meanwhile, the artists being pulled into the conversation aren't exactly calming things down. Whether intentional or not, their actions are adding fuel to the fire. A lyric here that feels pointed. A performance moment that gets clipped and replayed from different angles. Even who they're seen with starts becoming part of the narrative. People are divided, arguing over whether these are coincidences or calculated moves meant to provoke a response. And then there's the fans themselves, arguably the most powerful force in all of this. They're dissecting everything in real time, building narratives, challenging each other, and pushing the conversation forward faster than anyone can control. It's no longer just about what's happening, it's about what people believe is happening, and those beliefs are shaping the story just as much as any actual event. As the hours turn into days, one thing becomes clear. This isn't slowing down. If anything, it's accelerating. The tension is thicker now, the stakes feel higher, and the silence from Drake is starting to carry a different kind of weight. Not just mysterious, but strategic. Or maybe even pressured. Nobody knows for sure. But what everyone can agree on is this: the timeline isn't just complicated anymore, it's unpredictable. And whatever comes next, it's going to have people watching even closer than before. And this is where everything starts to feel different. Not just louder, not just more chaotic, but heavier. Because now it's no longer just about posts, clips, or subtle reactions. The conversation has shifted into something deeper, something that feels like it's happening both in public and behind the scenes at the same time. Fans are shocked at how quickly the tone changed, and emotions are running higher than ever. What really pushed things to this level was a wave of unconfirmed reports suggesting that communication may be happening privately. Not through social media, not through music, but directly, calls, meetings, conversations that the public isn't seeing. Now, nothing is confirmed, and it's important to keep that clear. But social media is saying that when situations move off the internet and into real life, that's when things get serious. That's when the stakes change. And suddenly, every small move started to feel bigger. Or artists who had stayed neutral before began showing subtle signs of alignment. A like on a post here. A quiet follow there. Even the absence of interaction started getting attention. Fans began treating the entire situation like a chessboard, analysing every piece, every position, every possible outcome. People are divided on what it all means, but nobody is ignoring it. Then came the moment that really sent everything into overdrive. A leaked snippet. Not a full track, not an official release, just a short piece of audio that appeared online and spread within minutes. The quality wasn't perfect, the source wasn't verified, but the voice, the flow, the tone, it was enough to get people talking. Some fans believe it could be Drake, while others are convinced it's either fake or completely unrelated. Once again, nothing is confirmed. But that didn't stop the reaction. "If that's real, it changes everything," one comment read. And that sentiment echoed across platforms. Because if Drake has been quiet publicly but working privately, then the silence takes on a whole new meaning. It's no longer just waiting, it's building. Some people think he's been watching the entire situation unfold, studying reactions, letting tensions rise, all while preparing something behind the scenes. At the same time, there's another layer forming, one that goes beyond just music. Fans are starting to question whether this situation connects to bigger industry dynamics. Relationships, business decisions, long-standing tensions that may have never been fully addressed. Social media is going crazy with theories suggesting that what we're seeing now could be the result of something that's been building quietly for a long time. But with that comes even more division. Some people think fans are over-analyzing, turning coincidence into conspiracy. Others believe this is exactly how these situations unfold. Slow at first, then all at once. And right now, it feels like things are moving fast. Too fast for anyone to fully keep up. What makes it even more intense is the emotional investment. This isn't just casual conversation anymore. People are picking sides, defending positions, debating with real passion. Emotions ran high as discussions turned into arguments, and arguments turned into full-blown online battles. Every new development, real or rumoured, adds another layer to an already complicated situation. And through all of this, Drake remains silent. No clarification, no denial, no acknowledgement. Just presence without words. And that presence is being felt more than ever. Fans are shocked because the longer this goes on, the more that silence starts to feel intentional. Not accidental, not hesitant, deliberate. Some people think he's controlling the narrative without speaking, letting everyone else reveal their positions first. Others believe he's waiting for the perfect moment, a point where whatever he says or releases will have maximum impact. And then there are those who feel like the silence itself is the message, that not responding is the response. But the truth is, nobody knows for sure. And that uncertainty is what's driving everything forward. Because every hour that passes without clarity only adds more tension. On to more speculation, more anticipation. Right now, it feels like the situation is reaching a boiling point. The timeline is more complicated than ever, the theories are stacking higher, and the line between reality and speculation is getting harder to see. But one thing is clear. Whatever is happening, whether in public or behind closed doors, it's building towards something. And when it finally surfaces, when whatever has been forming in the background finally comes into the light, it's not just going to be another moment. It's going to shift the entire conversation. Now everything feels like it's right on the edge, not settled, not resolved, just hovering in that tense space where anything could happen at any moment. The timeline isn't just active anymore, it's restless. Fans are refreshing non-stop, watching for even the smallest signal. And because at this point, every second of silence feels intentional. And the longer it stretches, the more pressure builds around it. What makes this moment different is how many narratives are now running at the same time. There isn't just one story anymore. There are multiple versions of what people think is happening, all unfolding together. Some fans believe Drake is completely in control, carefully letting everything play out, while he prepares something calculated behind the scenes. Others think the silence is creating a situation that's getting harder to contain, where eventually something will have to be said. And then, there's a third perspective gaining traction. People who think this entire situation has been unfolding exactly the way it was meant to. Social media is going crazy trying to decide which version is real. Every new post, and every reaction, every absence of action gets turned into evidence for one theory or another. People are divided, not just on what they think is happening, but on what they think should happen next. Some want a response immediately, something direct and undeniable. Others are saying the longer this builds, the bigger the payoff will be. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more intense, another moment hit the timeline. Quick, subtle, but impossible to ignore. A post appeared briefly, then disappeared just as fast. No explanation, no context, just enough for people to catch it, screenshot it, and send it everywhere. Within minutes, the internet was locked in again. What did that mean? Was that aimed at someone? Is this the beginning? Fans are shocked at how something so small could create such a massive reaction. But that's where things stand right now. Every detail matters, every second counts. Even something that lasts only a moment can shift the entire energy of the situation. At the same time, more voices are starting to weigh in, not directly involved, but close enough to add pressure. Comments in interviews, reactions during live streams, even the tone of certain conversations all feel slightly different now. It's like the entire industry is aware that something is building, even if nobody is saying it out loud. Emotions ran high as fans started interpreting these reactions as signs that whatever is happening isn't isolated. It's connected. And through all of this, Drake remains exactly where he's been, present, but silent. No confirmation, no denial, no attempt to redirect the narrative. And that consistency is starting to feel like the biggest clue of all. Because at this level, with this much attention, staying silent isn't easy. It's a choice, a deliberate one. Some people think he's letting the moment grow as big as possible, knowing that whatever comes next will hit harder because of it. Others believe the silence is creating expectations that might be impossible to meet. But no matter which side people are on, everyone agrees on one thing: this doesn't feel finished. There's a sense that everything happening right now is leading somewhere. Like all the speculation, all the tension, all the noise, is building toward a single moment that will either confirm everything or flip the entire narrative again. And that's what has people locked in. Because right now, nothing is confirmed. Not the rumors, not the theories, and not the intentions behind any of it. But the impact, that's very real. The conversations, the debates, the emotional reactions, they're happening in real time, shaping how this moment will be remembered no matter what comes next. And maybe that's the most powerful part of all this. Not what has been said, but what hasn't. Not the answers, but the questions that keep multiplying. Because every unanswered question adds another layer to the story, another reason for people to stay invested. At this point, it's no longer just about whether Drake responds. It's about when, how, and what that response will mean for everything that's already happened. Will it confirm the theories? Will it shut them down? Or will it take things in a completely different direction that nobody saw coming? Right now, the silence is still holding. The tension is still rising. And the timeline is more complicated than it has ever been. But one thing is certain. Whatever happens next, it won't just be watched. It will be felt. And now we're at that moment where everything is still up in the air. And honestly, that might be what makes this situation so addictive to watch. No clear answers, no confirmed statements, just a timeline full of theories, reactions, and non-stop speculation. Drake hasn't responded. Not directly, not clearly. But somehow the silence has created even more noise than a diss track ever could. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and social media is still going crazy trying to piece everything together. So what does it all mean? Is this a calculated move? Is he letting the moment build before dropping something major? Or is this situation way more complicated behind the scenes than we actually realize? Nothing is confirmed, and that's exactly why everyone is still locked in. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened? Is Drake playing this perfectly? Or is the pressure starting to build? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, let's talk about it. And if you've been keeping up with every twist and turn, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. Because if this situation has proven anything, it's that the next move could happen at any moment.